Our next speaker is Dr. Zaher Wahab of Afghanistan. He is Professor Emeritus of Education and former advisor to the Afghan Ministry of Higher Education and taught at American University of Afghanistan from 2013 to 2020. His topic is Dialogue, Not Clash of Civilizations.
Greetings from Portland, Oregon. First, I'd like to thank the Schiller Institute for convening me at this conference and also for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts and ideas with you. And also, I'd like to thank the Schiller Institute for its commitment to creating a better world and for keeping Afghanistan in the news. We are indeed facing an existential crisis. I'm deeply pained by the misconduct of my adopted country, the United States, which has been causing trouble all over the planet for years and years. And I'm also pained by my country of origin, Afghanistan. And needless to point out that my adopted country pretty much ruined my country of origin. If you look around, you will see that our world is riddled with hunger, poverty, inequality, oppression, degradation, pain, suffering, insecurity, and overall underdevelopment. I think that Afghanistan and the United States are textbook examples of these phenomena. Epidemics, energy crisis, mass migration, conventional wars, conflict, violence, and we seem to be on the brink of a nuclear war. It's a world of domination, exploitation, unilateral decision-making, and misuse and abuse of power by the powerful. The existing paradigm has created its own narrative, such as civilization, free market, human rights, etc. And it has created its own narrative, like freedom, democracy, the good life. The existing paradigm also has its own supportive structures, like law and order, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, WTO, even the UN itself, and converting most currencies into dollar. But if we look closely, you will see that the paradigm is clearly disintegrating. It's discredited, it's demystified, it's exposed, and it's collapsing. It's for these reasons that I think the collapsing, decaying paradigm could do a lot of damage. It could cause a calamity throughout the planet. We desperately need a new dialogue, a new language, if you will, and a new paradigm. We must reject Samuel Huntington's idea of the clash of civilizations and so-called the end of history. I submit that history is alive and well and moving. History has not ended. What history of the future will tell us about these times remains to be seen. We need to, in opposition to Samuel Huntington, we need to listen to the words of former Iranian President Mohammad Khatami, who urged a dialogue of civilizations. We must think, talk, and practice pluralism of ideas, pluralism of cultures, multiculturalism, new constructions, different religions, and different political systems. We need to promote and practice this new dialogue of civilizations, and we need to emphasize humanism, pluralism, cultural cross-fertilization, and mutual respect and cooperation. In short, we need to promote, discuss, and practice a new design for living. The US and Western imperialism must accept responsibility for the damage it has done since the opening of the Suez Canal, the so-called the beginning of the new imperialism. The US and the West must accept the collapse of the imperialist Western paradigm, and it must end American exceptionalism, Eurocentrism, and racism. It must engage other countries with respect, compassion, care, cooperation, and mutuality. We must commit to the emerging dialogue of common culture, common civilization, and common approach to problems. We must move away from the unipolar world to a multipolar world. We need a new design and architect for peace, development, and security. It isn't just the powerful imperial West that needs resources, security, and peace and development. All countries, all people everywhere throughout the world need peace, development, justice, democracy, and security. This must be taken into account. Under the new paradigm, we must support countries, we must support regionalism, we must support new currencies like in new organizations like the BRIC, and we must also support and join the China Roads and Bridges Initiative. More specifically, the new dialogue will in part consist of demanding that the North, the colonial imperial powers, must pay just reparation to the South for the centuries of plunder and pillage. The North must cease all forms of direct and indirect military, economic, political, and other forms of aggression. The US must close all of its military bases throughout the world. The US must release all of the currencies which it holds hostage from other countries, in particular Afghanistan. And the US and the West must return all those national thieves from around the world who escaped with tons and tons of money from their own countries and are living in luxuries in the West. The US must terminate monopolies and COVID vaccines. The US and the North must pay a fair price for all of the raw materials, the goods, services, and labor of the developing nations. And the US must stop behaving like an empire. The era of empire and the current decaying paradigm seem to be over. The US and the developed North must live like other nations in the community of nations and stop behaving like empires. In short, the old paradigm has been discredited, and the new paradigm is emerging. It should be flourished. And we need a new form of dialogue from the grassroots that can talk about all of these issues. Thank you very much.